Now I would like to introduce our opening keynote speaker, who we're all really here to see, Kareem Weaver. Kareem is the co-founder of Fulcrum. Full and complete reading is a universal mandate. He is committed to improving literacy rates in California and across the country by engaging stakeholders around the systematic structures needed to cultivate excellent reading outcomes for all students. Kareem is also a member of the Oakland NAACP Education Committee and a senior visiting fellow at the National Council on Teacher Quality. Kareem previously led the Western Region for New Leaders, a leader development organization that supports the professional growth of teachers and administrators and prepares them to serve schools and communities desiring improved outcomes. Prior to New Leaders, Kareem was an award-winning teacher and administrator in Oakland, California, and Columbia, South Carolina. Kareem testified on the science of reading in front of the Ontario Human Rights Commission and has delivered keynote addresses and presentations at dozens of conferences, including the Oregon Response to Instruction and Intervention 2002 Annual Conference and the California Elementary Literacy Conference. Kareem has been a guest on numerous podcasts, including Melissa and Lori Love Literacy and Science of Reading, the podcast, and he, of course, is featured in the upcoming documentary, The Right to Read. Kareem, welcome.
Good morning, Buffalo. I guess I better come up here. All right. So I'm from California, so 75 degrees is perfect. I'm loving it. Just for me? Thank you. So, and I think this is working, so I'm going to move around a little bit, if you don't mind, if that's all right. Real quick roll call. How many classroom teachers are here? Would you mind raise your hand? Okay. Okay, all right. Administrators or coaches, or you're in the building, but you're not in the classroom. Now listen, I feel sorry to keep going because they may not clap for your role if I keep going. but let's just say anyone else who's involved in education who's not one of those two roles, raise your hand. Okay, all right, okay, all right. All right. So I'm gonna move around just a little bit, if that's all right with you guys. Good morning, come on. I was waiting just for you. Oh, we met last night, good to see you. Hi. Okay, yay. Let's go. And thanks, Greg, I appreciate it. Listen, the technical crew here, amazing. Literally amazing, right? If there's something that doesn't work, it's my fault, not theirs. All right, so let's see. Literacy, make a deposit, get a return. So I flew out here from California because, first of all, Taria's amazing. And she was like, we need you to come out here, do this thing. So I just want hats off to the organizers of this event. They didn't have coffee, but they have a lot of soul. And they poured their heart into it. So I really do appreciate that. Make a deposit, get a return. What in the world are you talking about? Do you remember, okay, this may be aging me a little bit, but maybe some of you remember when you used to be able to take a pop bottle to the store, or you look on the bottom and you see the, no deposit, or what is it, 5-cent deposit. At least where I was from was 5 cents. Depends on the state. You still have it? Wow, they shut ours down. Yeah, as a kid, that was man. We go clean out old people's basements because they had pop bottles in the garage or the basement, depending on where they lived, and we take that money and have a time, But the lesson that taught us was basically if you don't put anything into it, you don't get anything out of it, right? But you make a deposit, you get a return. Very simple life lesson. So I'm going to title this after that. And I think we can make some headway here. I hope to offer you something that's at least interesting, to make you think. I know this is tied to the science of reading and tied to literacy improvement and all those things, but I'm not going to get buzzwordy and jargony today. I just want to talk to you a little bit, if you don't mind. Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure I know how to do this. Got the pointer. Oh, okay. That's the flow. That's where we headed. All right. Maybe it seemed a little funky, but hang with me. It'll make sense. At least I think it will. Maybe I should stand up there. No, I'm not going to do it. Should I? Thank you, my people. All right. If I can get this going. Let's make a deal. Anybody remember that game? Now we're getting really in the path. Okay. And what'd you say? Oh, I thought I heard you say yeehaw. Listen, I'll make a deal with you. How much would you sell your ability to read for? No, don't talk to anybody. Don't talk to anybody. It's just me and you. What's your price? I've heard people say everything's got a price. Everybody's got a price. What would your price be? Just come on. I know, I'd never. Just think about it. 100,000. Cash out the door, tax-free. 300,000. $500,000. Some of you have a number in your head right now, right? $1 million. Think about the house you could buy, you put your kids through school depending on where they're going, and I mean, yeah. How much is it worth to you? At this age right now, no strings attached. I see people shaking their head. I would never. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Okay, I'm not judging. No judgment. I asked the question, right?
Can we get tutoring
There's one in every crowd. She said, can we get tutoring with the money? Those of us who've had kids who've had to get that tutoring, okay, good luck with that. It's not cheap. But no, you can't. No, you can't. It's a straight exchange. How much? What's your price? Kareem, why are you asking us this question? What about your child's literacy? Just don't talk to your neighbor. Don't talk. Don't. I'm not so much interested in how much for this one, but I just want to know, based on the last answer you gave, would the price go up or down? Don't answer. And they're younger, right? So they're starting off, you can, here's a house, here's transportation. I don't want you working 2 jobs. See, we're going to start you off, we're going to invest this, but whatever your rationale is, $2 million out the door for your child's literacy. What's your price? Kareem, stop messing with us. What about your neighbor's child? Huh? Now look, your child might be a high price, but your neighbor's child, you might not like them anyway. They've been playing their music, lights on, all out, Lord have mercy. If my grandmother were here, a box of cookies. What? Okay. The most important question I'm trying to get to is this. We can get technical and talk about the science of reading and whatever. And many of your districts probably leverage curricula that's not tied to the science. Right? People are here from all over, my understanding, right? But I'm trying to drill down to the central question in all of this. Who is your neighbor and what's your responsibility to them? That's really what this is about. I've been in these sophomore conversations. Well, there's lots of different ways. Sure, fine. Especially for me and mine. I can read. But for 60% of my neighbor's children, they got to have it a certain way, or they're going to have to pay that private tutoring. That's the question. And so, I got to ask, right? We're so busy talking in the clouds, debating policy and, methodologies and pedagogy. Like, come on. The central question is, who is your neighbor? And what is your responsibility, if any, to them? Because the answer to that question will define all the rest. And we rarely put it in those terms. Second question, or most important. Second one. Number 2, I'll get to the other stuff, all What is the acceptable rate of success for you? As an educator, I'll keep it out of your house now. Let's go to the school building. What's the acceptable rate of success? Right? Blue ribbon and all of that stuff. What we happy? What we celebrating? Is it 3 to 1? Every 3 kids are literate, 1 is not. We good? That's 75%. Listen. 75% will get you on the cover of USA Today. They'll throw parades and ask you to be the Secretary of Education. 75%? Come on now. Am I lying? 75%. They'll be interviewing you tomorrow. Tell us how you did it. What's the acceptable rate for you? Not the institution, but for you. Does it depend on the price? Like, I'd do it if it didn't cost so much. If it didn't cost, it's a high price. My time, first of all, right? Because price and expense isn't just about money. The cost of this stuff becomes personal when it impacts people's lives. And as educators, it does impact our lives. I have scars on my back from how I did things. All right, Kareem, put your big boy pants on. You're here for a reason. Somebody need to hear this. Good morning. Good to see you, brother. All right. Does the ratio, so 3 to 1 is not your thing. Maybe it's 50-50, like 50%. There are some places where if you get 50% proficient, they'll be holding a parade. Right? You be on a magazine cover of Educators Weekly or something or whatever. Does the ratio depend on your brand loyalty? Listen, brand loyalty, my politics. I'm a Democrat, so I got to go with this. I'm a Republican, so I got to go with that. I'm conservative. I'm whatever the brand, whatever. Like I don't care. But whatever the thing is, I believe in Lucy. I believe in this. I believe in that. The brand. I'm an FMP. This is an FMP school. This is a science of reading school. The brand, you know what I'm talking about. Come on now. Look, you already showed me you were educators. I had you put your hands up, so you know what I'm talking about, right? You get down in the schools, to put it clearly. Does your ratio depend on what the crew is saying? What's trendy? Listen, they didn't flown me all the way out here from California, so I got to make it plain, right? And then, does the ratio depend on access to a plan B? Somebody said, what if I get private tutoring? Can I get a plan B? I'll take the deal as long as I can. Some people have access to plan B, some people don't. Some people don't even know they need a plan B because there was a parade last year. We did good. Highest scores ever. Brand loyalty. So why am I starting with all this? Because sometimes we get into these intellectual conversations, and listen, I can get up here and do the thing. I was a Western Region leader of new leaders. I did all the stuff. Central office, I led nonprofits, whatever. It's not about that. At first, it's not about that. I got to talk to you about what is your acceptable level of failure and success about your children and your neighbor's children, and who is your neighbor. That's the real issue in all this. But people don't want to go there. We're not supposed to talk about that. It's touchy-feely. It's kind of churchy. You call it what you want to. That's what this is about. Who has access? What's the acceptable amount of failure? We're 60%. We're good. We don't need to change. We don't need science or reading. Look, we got 65%. Even though 2/3 of the kids are off getting private tutoring somewhere, and Lord have mercy, the kids with dyslexia, they don't have a fighting chance. But we good. And if those kids in Buffalo, hey, it's the broken homes. It's the, the parents. It's the trauma. It's the violence. You know how, Listen, maybe it's just me. Maybe this only happens in California where our wonderful, sweet, loving liberals live. And when they start crying when I do this, oh my God, but I'm a good person. Like, I'm not here to judge you. That's not what I'm here. I just got the clicker, that's all. But what I want to do is I want to put in front of everybody this tension of, it doesn't have to be a tension, but it oftentimes is, our ideology versus our values. Oftentimes, we immerse ourselves in our ideologies so we don't have to wrestle with our core values. I can argue politically all day long. Man, how do you treat your neighbor? Are you honest? Are you courageous? Are you diligent? Are you loving? Are you kind? Are you forgiving? Are you gracious? I'm talking about values now. We can talk about politics and all that. That's fine. Put a bumper sticker on you. Great. But if you tell me you this, that, and the other, but you a liar, I really don't care what the bumper sticker says. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we've kind of lost. Okay, let me keep going, because I get carried away sometimes with all this stuff. Okay, all right, next. So now that we framed it, I'm sure in California, there's this conversation in the lunchroom. Girl, don't worry about this. It's just this is a pendulum. It's gonna swing back one way. Listen, every few years they come around. This is year 3. Look, a couple more years, they'll all be gone. We'll be back doing the same thing. That's why my books is in the closet right now. I'm gonna use them. I'm not spending my money on this next time. I already know what this is. And the principal's gonna be gone. The superintendent's gonna be gone. The chief academic officer is gonna be gone. You probably gonna be gone too. I'm gonna be right here teaching. Maybe that's just us. I always knew where I stood in a building. If I came in the lunchroom and that conversation jumped off, it said more about me than it did them. The more veteran I became as an educator, now, when I was a rookie, a few, 4, 5, 10, whatever, then whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do. But if you're a 15, 20-year educator and you walk in the building and they chatting it up like that, it's a lot to be said for that. But that's a common conversation, right? Y'all have heard that before, right? Okay, all right. The pendulum swing. All right, and look, there's lots of stuff, okay? So why should we focus on the science of reading, or whatever you want to call it, structured literacy, evidence-based practices, and all this? Why? Why? Or should we even do it? So if you look at the bottom of this, don't worry, I'm not going to have you Google that right now. But the American Federation of Teachers has something out. It's been out for 15 years, so it's not like out. It's been out up on their website forever. All you got to do is Google AFT, effective reading programs, elements of an effective reading program, and it'll pop up. Weaver, why are you talking about teachers union? What you mean? There's some people who get mad at me for quoting AFT. I don't know what you guys are, NEA or AFT, I don't know. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. I'm like, listen, man, you may have issues with the teacher union. I don't care. That's your issues. I'm just going off of what's going to help our kids. And if they've been saying the right thing for 15 years and we haven't been listening because of our politics, ideology, that's on you. So I'm not going to make you read that, obviously. But the website looks like that, okay? That's all that is. So if you go to their website, they've got these 5 elements of an effective reading program. And I want you to score your institution, your school, your district, your department. These are the 5 things they say you got to have an effective reading program. By the way, what do they call that? Burying the lead? No. I'm just going to tell you, it's the science of reading, basically. But they don't call it that. But this is what they say. So just give yourself a score. Are we 1 out of 5? Are we 5 out of 5? Are we 3 out of 5? First one, you got to have a strong core reading curriculum aligned to the science. That means it's got to have those 5 key elements. Phonemic awareness, phonics, comprehension, fluency, vocabulary. What they say. It's got to be there. Align with the research consensus. That's element number one. Now, I know it says science reading on the side of the box, because I've talked to publishers, and they know we'll buy anything. We don't really have time to really vet it. They know that. So I'm talking about that, and they'll have some evidence of success for kids in districts. Anyway, so that's one. Start going to ed reports. Look to see if it's aligned to the standards. That's not enough. Now you got to go look to see if it's got evidence of results for kids. High quality professional development. Now, I say this all the time. My educators in here know. How many days did God create the heavens and earth? How was it, 7 days? Was it 7? 6 days? Was it 6 days? On the 7th day, he made bad PD. That's why he went to sleep and rested. He said, I'm out. There's nothing worse than bad PD. So we're talking about high quality professional development. And I'll be honest with you, department leads, and BOCES directors, and superintendents, if your department was given professional development on a different way of teaching and reading last year, then they walk into the building the next year and say, okay, guess what, this year we're gonna do this. There might be some credibility issues that they have to wrestle with. High quality PD, that's number 2. You two for two so far? What you got? All right. Instructional materials align with the research. What do you mean? All K-3 teachers should have access to core reading instructional materials aligned with the research consensus. What does the research consensus say? If you're not sure what the research consensus says, it's probably not aligned. Because if it is, they'll be bragging about it. Oh my God, guess what? We got you brand new materials this year, and it's aligned to the research. You should be so happy. That's how district folks usually do. All the materials. 4, appropriate assessments. Screening to identify risk of failure. That means we don't have a wait to fail model. We're screening for risk of dyslexia and reading difficulty K1, 2. We screen right off the bat. We're not gonna wait. Why would you wait? 2 years for kids to, anyway, so that's another thing they say. Timely, intensive intervention. Why is this one important? I might not look at your child the same way you look at your child. You might look at your child and say, she needs help right now. She's a smart girl. She's loving and kind. She's not getting it. She needs help. I might say, oh, you precious little thing. She's so sweet. She's so nice. Let's just give her some more time. But you know, I might have biases against girls. I might think, oh, little white girls in Buffalo, she'll be all right. That might be my bias. Or I might just be too busy to notice. I'm a teacher, and I'm juggling all kind of things. I got 20-some odd, 30-some odd kids in my class. I mean, you know. So that's the 5. How your school and how your district look. Don't answer, just. If you don't like that, send them a strongly worded email complaining about how they posted these things. How dare you? So this pendulum, to an extent, is kind of true, but it's also used as a rationale to stay still. There's a difference between staying still and being still. In my culture, we have this old song about be still. Be still, gotta fight your battles, be still. Y'all don't know about that. Gotta fight your battles if you just be still, keep her reign. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean that you stay still. There's everything for a season and a reason. But sometimes we use excuse, we rationalize our lack of movement forward. Not you, some people. And then it helps, this pendulum thing, it helps with the dissonance. So wait a second now. If I think things just go back and forth, I don't have to wrestle with my values. This isn't a values issue. This is just a, esoteric conversation. This is, this is all upright. Got it, good. I can divest myself intellectually and emotionally and spiritually from the ramifications of my decision making and my connections. Because this causes dissonance when we realize, oh, you mean we can get better results For kids, if we do something different, there's some dissonance that's going to bump up, for many of us, it bumps up against our core values. And it helps us to look away. I know. I'm telling you this because I love you. You an educator? I can see, man, I know how deeply we care about our babies. Oftentimes, people are scared of educators. I don't know why they're scared of us. I'm not scared of y'all. I love you because I know you're serving our kids. You're the front lines. The most loving and respectful thing I could do is tell you the truth as I have researched and learned. That's it. What's possible? Well, Kareem, is it really possible? Okay. I rarely ever show this because I don't like to, but so this is me way back in the day as a principal, right? At a school. I took over a school. I joined this program called New Leaders. They train you turnaround situations. So I found the lowest school in the district in terms of academic achievement. The parents had been on strike the year before. The parents went on strike. I was like, oh, I love these people. They said, we taking all our kids. They took all their kids out the school because, you know, you get paid. The money from the school comes from attendance. So you know, that's like an act of war. We taking all our kids out. Nobody getting paid. They shut the whole thing down. I was like, man, I love them. I'm going to that school. They're like, you crazy. Because that's where they put all the teachers that nobody wants to deal with. That's why they're out there protesting. I said, man, give me them. They're all veteran teachers. Give me them. Man, they believe in this, that, and the other. Did you hear what happened to Mr. So-and-so and Miss So-and-so? Now, listen, it was some stuff now. I ain't gonna lie. It was some stuff that went down at the school. Okay, y'all, I ain't got time today. But, for the most part, teachers are vulnerable to their best self. If you show them a pathway forward and it starts to work, hey, okay. It's just that you almost can't help it but get cynical if they ask you to do all the stuff and it's not working one way or the other. And you want me to stay up all night long? And now you got a new idea? Come on now. But, okay, forget my school. So here's an example of a school. This is in Appalachia. I love showing this one. Mine is in Oakland, was in Oakland, that school. This is in Kentucky. And the foothills of Appalachia. That's poor white folks. Fentanyl, opioid crisis. Okay? Act like you don't know what I'm talking about. They're struggling out there. And a lot of people have forgotten about them. A lot of white people don't want to even talk about folks like that. Unless they're in their family, we talk about it on the under, but that's not even, those are the undesirables. The black folks, we like, listen, we went through the 80s, the crack epidemic, it's y'all turn, good luck with it, we love you, but we've been there. Man, I'm telling you. Y'all can take it a little long, I'm trying to tell you. Right, so, but they did some stuff, and they wrote a report about it and all of that. They did the same thing I did at Lazier. Everybody's got their own challenges. Every challenge is unique. I always show this one. I love this is a school in Delaware, Seaford, Delaware. It's a district, actually, not a school. And it's hard to read. But basically what it says is the school is about to get shut down. The district, they were going to close schools down because it was so underperforming. The lowest in the state. If you've ever been in a situation like that, it's not a pretty picture. And a few years later, they were one of the highest in the state. And I highlighted one group. Can you see what that says right there in the box? What do you see? What do you see? All subgroups of students. All subgroups. Thank you. All subgroups. All subgroups are thriving. What? Yeah, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So now the moral part, man, so you mean, so I got to pay attention to this stuff now. That's bumping up. Now that I ripped the Band-Aid off of some of my stuff, my meat, now you mean to tell me all subgroups? What are they doing out there? What are they doing? Janine, right? Okay. There's this podcast, Ed Trust, I always put this up there. You just go crazy. Just go to the podcast, just do your thing. If you're a podcast person, put it on the car. And anybody ever heard this before? I was speaking at a conference in Ohio recently, and I looked There were only 3 views on it. You know what this podcast is? Ordinary districts doing extraordinary things, something like that. Basically, districts around the country that are breaking the mold. They're achieving, they're soaring. And they tell the story of how they did it. The superintendent says, or the chief academic officer, and one says, man, listen, we had just adopted a curriculum 2 years ago, and I had to come in and change it, and I had to deal with the change management. The teachers get mad at me, and the board getting upset for me spending all this money, and everybody's tired already, like real stuff. Now they're featured on this podcast, man, 3 views. They're on season 5 now, 3 views on one of those episodes. But man, we could talk about whatever else in the cafeteria. 3 views. Anyway, they got 5 seasons. The stuff is good. I highly recommend going to go check it out. You can just veg out. Those are 2 of my favorite. I love season 2. I love Seaford, Delaware. Was it Lane, Oklahoma? That's just mine. I love the story. Love it. I'm not even going to go into it. I don't have too much time. Season 4, there's this episode about high quality materials. I highly recommend that episode. Not all materials are high quality. Not just because they're misaligned to the standards, but also sometimes they're just impossible to do within the time you have. I don't care how fancy the car is, if you ain't got no gas, it don't matter. I don't care how nice your program is, your curriculum is, if the teachers don't have time to prep for it, what are we doing? Are we virtue signaling? Yeah, it's a podcast. Ed Trust, Extraordinary Districts podcast. Extraordinary Districts. Or maybe ordinary districts doing extraordinary things, something like that. Something like that. Put in yeah, that's it. You'll find it. Yeah. Then there's a one on, what can states, so there might be some states people in here. The only reason I put that in there. They got some stuff in there about what states can do, what some states have done. Go down to Mississippi, they go to other places. What did they do? And then, what about districts? Listen, very few views. We talk about everything else. Have firm opinions on it. We don't even know. Anyway. So, I'm just going to leave that with you. So, in Oakland, on the other side of the country, the NAACP, which I am a member of, decided to say, we're going to stand on this. This is a civil rights issue. We went to the school district, we was like, listen, we're going to make some demands on you. You can't keep failing our children like this. This is a problem. We're not here for this. And we started to make some demands. Here are the demands. This is the first time I've ever kind of run through this with somebody that's outside our area, but some told me this morning, tell them. So here we go. So the first one is, we told them we need a district-wide curriculum that's aligned to the research consensus and has evidence of success for our babies. Our children are not guinea pigs. Do you have proof that this works? Evidence. Show me the evidence. Isn't that seems to me a reasonable request, right? I thought it was. And that last part, and is manageable for educators to fully implement within the bounds of their contract hours. Yeah, we went there. Now they got one. They did get a curriculum. I wasn't happy with that second part. I still think it's too heavy. They had other options with better results. But the one they picked was more trendy. It's aligned to the science. It's the teachers really wanted it. So hey, if y'all agree to it, okay. Then we don't want to hear no excuses about it's too hard to do. If you're not going to fight, okay. Hey, we need somebody in the district. Who is in charge of reading in the district? Don't tell me it's the chief academic officer, please, because she got a million things to do. She's in charge of science and history and math and reading the whole, come on, man, stop playing. Who's in charge of literacy? And where are they on the org chart? Are they 5 levels down? Are they ducking under their shoulder and looking? Do they have a budget? Do they have staff? You don't have to have a new position. Just elevate somebody up to the level of cabinet. When the discussions go down behind the scenes, we want literacy to be on the table. We need more. Y'all got to stop that tracking. We told them, y'all got to stop this. Level reading, whatever, fine. Look, level A, B, C, D, E, F. What are you talking about? When my father was a kid, they called it tracking. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, okay? We need PD not just in this curriculum, but on the science of reading itself. Curriculums come and go. Yeah, fine. We do need to know how to do this material, yes, and you can't, everything is not going to be, I got to understand this stuff, and you got to pay me for it. You got to compensate me for my time. First of all, I don't even go too far in this, but it is unseemly to have educators who just pay, whatever they pay for their credential, going to school. And they had to wrestle with curriculum that was not aligned to standards. Now you say, okay, here's a new thing, so go train for it. There's an ethical part of that too. You've got to be careful how you treat people. Pay them for their time. Give them a menu of options. Some things are like graduate level classes. Not everybody is in the graduate level class season of life. While some people's like, woo, sign me up, where's the PD? Other people have an ill parent, or they're wrestling with a child who has special needs, or they're going through a divorce, or they got their own health challenges, or they got their own work to do personally, whatever it is. You got to have a menu of options as a district, as a state, as a school, so that people can get in where they fit in. You need dyslexia screening, I hear you. You need dyslexia screening, K2, and then you got to find out all these interventions you're doing, how you know if it's working or not. You got to find out. So, and then the last couple ones, where are the schools and universities who are leveraging the science of reading? Which universities? You got to find out. And you got to tell them, hey, look, we're not going to, your folks that come in, this is what we demand. It's one thing to have to teach people something. It's another thing to have to unteach things. That's tougher. It takes longer. It's a different kind of change management process. You can't tell me this Professor so-and-so said this, but you don't work with Professor so-and-so. If you have choices, so HR has to be aligned. There's not some department down the hall. That's a factor. And this is one that some folks in our constituency really wanted. You got to have something that reflects the diversity of the students. And all that. Now, it actually, you would think that this was the NAACP's thing. It really wasn't. That was all our partners' thing. We're so fed up with the kids not being able to read. We was like, listen, I don't care what color the pictures are in the book. We don't care if you ever say Dr. King's name. We do that at home. We do that when they go to Sunday school. Listen. I just need you to teach these babies how to read. But the other partners, and this is the most important part here, is that we went with other people, other groups. It's hard to see, but there's a Polynesian group. We have a lot of Samoan and Tongan students in our district. So they had a representative. State of Black Education, Oakland. The Latino Education Network. So here we came to Dyslexia Alliance. California, what is it? Decoding Dyslexia, that's what it is. Now, everybody has dyslexia, like every group, but that's mainly a white organization at this point in time. So we also got the Dyslexia Alliance for Black Educators, which is a New York-based group. A friend of mine worked some stuff out. But anyway, and some universities jumped in. But we went together, which was huge. They're not used to that. They are not used to people coming together. I mean, we can all talk and sing Kumbaya. We don't get along too good, and they know that. And our division provides room. That's the oxygen that the fire uses to grow, the division. That's how the oxygen gets in there. There's cracks. You go in there, lock it arms, and say, listen, this is what we want. You can't marginalize. You can't, okay, yeah, they're white, but you're going to talk about privilege. Here I am here, too. Don't tell me about the bilingual kids. Guess what? The Latino folks are right here. Don't talk, so go together. I'm worried about my time. Oh, boy, okay. Pitfalls. I am? Thank you. All right. Pitfalls. What could go wrong with this? What do you notice about this design? Can y'all see that? Those steps? You see it? What could go wrong? You laugh, but don't we do that? We don't need to have it step by step. Not everybody needs that. That basic stuff. Just skip a step here and there, they're going to get bored. Baby steps. But if you're trying to get everybody to the top of the steps, then how do you design it? Matter of fact, let me ask you this question. That design right there, in each of these pictures, who do you think built that? Who do you think? Do you think she built it? Do you think she built it? Huh? Why not? Huh? No rails. I don't move like I used to move. You know. Maybe, more than likely, nah, probably not her. That's a pretty big step right there, right? Pretty big step is missing right there. More than likely, boom, 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 right? More than likely. Listen, you get me a superintendent whose child has dyslexia. You get me a chief academic officer whose brother or sister struggled to learn to read. I guarantee you a lot of the foolishness would stop. When you have a personal, that's why at the NAACP, people are like, you know what? Y'all tired of marching? Y'all tired of protesting? You tired? You got your Cadillac now? You good? Let me go, these dyslexia moms? Because it's a fresh wound. Their child is struggling today. We'll march with them. We're just looking for a coalition of the willing. But the reality is, you know, the design of the structure says a lot about the builder. I could imagine the person who built that would have a sign like this in their front yard. All stair climbers matter. Right? They're empowered. Social justice warrior. Meanwhile, grandma can't get up the steps. You laugh. Think about what we do. Boring designs kill the love of climbing. Ooh, Kareem, you messing with me now, Kareem. Uh-huh. Some people don't need the basic steps. They're going to get bored. It's not fair. Why should they have to climb up that front step? Harumph, harumph, harumph. I'm using this example, but I'm hoping that this will make sense. For educators, like there's this, we're talking in code kind of, some of you know what I'm talking about, these conversations and the thoughts and all this, and I'm trying to tell it to you in a different way for it to illuminate it a little bit. Of course we want okay, let me keep going. There's more than one way to climb steps. Yeah, but what's your goal? If you're serious, if your values say, your values, remember those things we talked, if your values say that we love grandma, but you can't tell me you love grandma, what does your design of your steps say? Last night at the movie thing, I said that I don't want to hear about your slogan. Show me your budget, your curriculum, right? Show me those things, your calendar, your budget, and your curriculum. I'll tell you what your values are. Same thing here. You don't have to get a thesis or a white paper from somebody. Just look at the steps. You can tell where their head is at. They're not thinking about their grandma. If they were, they would have built them steps differently, right? Now, some people, especially they're full of verve and energy, like, okay, I get it, Kareem. Okay, yes, we got to have something that has all the pieces. Like, you got to do the thing. You have the phonics and the this and the, okay, we'll do the science of reading. We'll do the thing. Yes, okay. And they go out and they design or accept or approve or adopt a curriculum that is more complex than the Da Vinci Code. This is one of the most popular curriculums in the country. And there's plenty of others. I don't mean to slam them. They're actually making some efforts to modify things. I give them a lot of credit. We sat down, we talked about it. It's like, yeah, y'all got to tighten this up. And they say, listen, it's very, very intricate. The design is flawless. If I wanted to show off my intellect, my architectural skill, whatever, like I would do this. If it was about me, or if I'm the bureaucrat that's among us, it checks all the boxes. Look at all this. It's got all the stuff. 10 books. Check, 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 check. We're good, right? Now go do the thing. You said all kids. Okay, well, here's some stuff. Go teach all kids. But that's a bureaucratic mindset. That's a bureaucratic mindset. Because the kids who need all 10 of those things are usually the most vulnerable kids. And if it's not embedded into the core, if it's not part of the first book, at most the second book, man, it's going in the closet or the drawer. Let's be honest. Maybe not all the time, but 3 days out of 5 it is. I got my own kids. You want me to stay up all night? Come on now. Now, it's not sexy. unless you value, I'm not talking about ideology, I'm talking about value. Unless you value getting everybody to the top of the steps, unless that's a core value of yours, then this is not going to appeal to you. You can't brag about this at the conference. You can't. You go to the Read and Lead conference, you won't believe how intricate, you should see our steps. Oh my gosh. They're not going to, this is not, but what is the point? If you're trying to get the kids up to the top of the steps, all of them, if you really love grandma, it's got carpeting on the floor. It's lit. Those are your formative assessments. We're not going to assess you when you get to the top. We're not going to just take your blood pressure when you get to the top. We're assessing you all along the way. It's got guardrails up. That's your intervention program. It's straight, sequential, systematic, explicit, direct. This is not a puzzle. AFT been saying this for almost 20 years. You either going to get grandma up to the top of the steps or not. You can keep fussing if you want to, but there it is. Some people will say, if you look at that one on the left, say, well, we'll just patch it. We'll just buy a patch, and then, and I get it, that's fine. Let's just, if we just add this supplement, so you want us to do an extra thing on top of the thing we didn't have time for already. The patch now. We're going to go to that PD next. Oh, great plan. And I got news for you. Okay, maybe the patch works, but here's the thing. Once you saw grandma fall off the steps, most people don't want to hear what you have to say anymore. Most people. Once you design something in a way and you saw and felt and experienced the repercussions of it, it's tough to come back and say, well, just add this. Once Thanksgiving dinner comes out and the food is nasty, you can't just say, well, just add a little salt to that thing and roll it back out. It's good now. Man, no, man. Nah. I'm trying to make, but do you understand where I'm coming from with this? You can have forgiveness, but it takes time. But like my mother used to say, you can forgive somebody. It doesn't mean you forget. And if they're still hanging with the same people, okay, now this is grown people's business now. So she used to talk about this to my brother and my cousins and different folks, like, look, you're going off, young people, y'all starting to get married and doing all these type of things. That's fine. Things happen. Forgiveness, I understand that. But if they're still hanging around the same people, do what you want to do, but understand the implications of that. Maybe not now, but at some point. Because if they truly want to change, if only for your sake, they probably would say, I can't hang around you no more, dog. I don't even want to give it a hint that I'm. And so that's the same thing with this. So could we patch it? Yeah, you could patch it, but what message does that send? All right, keep it moving. Do I want to play? How much time do I have? Let's play the second one. Do you do the one on the right, Greg? It's 2 minutes. We'll do the quick one.
There's a body of evidence. Dyslexia is fairly prevalent.
Try it again.
There's a body of evidence.
Nah, don't worry about it. Oh.
in young offenders. But there's some people who refute that and say it's no more prevalent
He's talking about
in the
dyslexia.
population than it is elsewhere.
Scotland prison.
The suggestion that there could be a higher rate of dyslexia inside prison than in the outside world meets with open scepticism from the head of education at Polmont, Les Wiley.
I don't think you'll link directly dyslexia with major criminality statistics.
The computer test comprises 100 simple questions and takes just 15 minutes to complete. Mikey's had lots of educational support, but this is the first time dyslexia has been identified. He's upset it wasn't diagnosed earlier.
Listen.
I feel cheated. See, a few years of my life, see at school, I think that's fair. So I went through hell at school, you know what I mean?
Can I just say something which I think is very important, and that is that you've got to really look upon dyslexia from now on as a positive thing, in other words, a good thing. You've got to try to say, right, okay, how could I move on from here?
All I can think about is when I was at school and I couldn't do as good as I've done, and
Well, you're quite
and
right.
they never done a wee thing like something, just a wee thing on a computer like that, and it tells I'm dyslexic.
Okay, you can cut it.
couldn't
You
do
can
that
cut
at
it.
school for me.
Oh, I can cut it. Okay. I know his accent, because it's Scottish. But did you hear what he was saying? Anybody? Who said that? What did he say? Yeah, what? You mean they just this little test like this, they could have found out that, and they wouldn't even do that for me? That's basically what he was saying. We make choices. We make choices that impact young people's opportunities. And when we no longer avert our eyes and we look square-eyed at the situation. Listen, I have tons of those clips, different ethnic groups. Most of you are white, so I played the white one. Because I'm trying to connect with you, and I figured maybe it would touch something in you. Hey, you think I'm telling like it? Hey, I got a black one, I got a Latino one, I got the Asian one, I got it all. Yeah, depending on the audience. That's the 2-minute version for white people. Because it affects everybody, and people will have you thinking, publishers spend money to have you think it's somebody else's problem. Nobody wants you to wrestle with the implications that this might impact you and yours and your ratio of acceptability. Because the thinking is, well, if you start thinking things like that, you might mess around and make different choices. You might just not go along quite so readily. But I look at the crowd, I tell them, I don't know which one I'm gonna play. We'll see. I got a couple more, I don't know. Depends on the audience. Just saying. If this was my mother, I showed her the one of my friend Curtis, young man who went to Oakland Public Schools, went to prison at 19 years old, 40-year sentence, completely illiterate. He's given a TED talk before, and he talks about, I was illiterate and this, that, and the other happened. I learned to read in jail, now I'm teaching financial literacy. She's crying, because he looks like her sons. He sounds like my brother and I. All right, I'm almost done. Okay, I'm not going to do this one. I'm just going to tell you about it. But we won't have to do it. You can do it with your faculty, your staff, your people later, but I'll just tell you how I frame this. This is the one where, so I always ask this question. I say, now, if you were a parent of or if you did exchange kids, they come live with you for a summer or something like that, maybe from a different country, and you were in charge of the meals, what would you feed them? Right? What are you going to feed these kids? Different country, different diet. And you found out that one of the kids has his own money, he buys his own food. You really don't have to worry about it. You got 3 of the kids, they usually eat whatever you cook. If it's good, they eat it. If it's not, they won't. But whatever, they're not picky eaters. They're like me. As long as it's warm, I'm good. And even if it's cold sometimes, doesn't matter. Right? These are the kids. Then you have, out of these 10 kids, 4 of them, they have to have broccoli regularly for 4 months. They got to have it. They got to have it. Medically, they got a situation. They got to have broccoli. And then you got 2 kids who, listen, not just the first 4 months, they got to go get their blood tested for vitamins K and C. Like their body might shut down on you. And it may even go on beyond 4 months. And they're going to need some diagnostic support. So sometimes when I give this, I tell educators, first of all, I say, what would you do as a cook? Oh, I'd cook, I know how to cook. I'd make that broccoli so good. I know how to I put my foot in it. Okay, fine. Fine. Our kids are saying this. How do we teach reading? Because that's the breakdown in terms of what they need. One of them is going to be all right pretty much no matter what we feed them. They're going to learn to read. Whether their parents or whatever, they just, like, whatever. Most of y'all in here probably fall in that category. That's why you're here. You're the survivors of the system. Huh? You didn't matter if you had the broccoli. It didn't matter what the school system did. It didn't matter. Here we are. And we get to make the rules now. We get to make the menu. And put our yard signs out about whose life matters and how equity-minded we are and all that. That's us. Then the next group, 3 folks, teach them something. Montessori method, balanced literacy, guided read, whole life, whatever. Teach them, just teach them something. They'll pick it up eventually, right? Most people are in that category who survived the school system. They really don't even remember how they learned to read. They just know they learned to read. But then you have the kids who, they got to have that structured literacy. They got to do the things that AFT said to do. They got to have a school district that's got 4 out of 5 of those things at least. They may be shaky on 1, but they at least got to come with 4 out of the 5. And if they don't have that, they're not going to learn to read. Straight up. Then you got a couple of kids who, listen, they're staring down the barrel of life right now. And if we don't get this right, they got no shot. Well, Lord have mercy. I shouldn't say that. It's not that they don't have a shot. It's going to take some divine intervention. But I would never say the kid doesn't have a shot. God can do anything but fail. So that 2 at the bottom, that 2, that's almost half the people locked up in jail right now. That 2. That's also over 40% of our self-made millionaires. That 2. That bottom 2, so-called bottom 2. Them same little kids that's tearing up the classroom, driving us crazy, it's those 2, usually. They're just tired. You ain't feeding them. We not feeding them. They're starving. What you want them to do, sit there and starve to death? Or look bad in front of these cute little girls in middle school? I'd rather flip this table and leave class. At least I look cool doing it. All right, let me get out of here. What else we got? Okay, deputize me, real quick. Y'all know who that guy is with Dr. King? That's his best buddy, Andy Young, Ambassador Andrew Young. One of his deputies. He was on the balcony when Dr. King was killed that morning. He came in late to a meeting. Dr. King's teased him out, he late all the time. But he was trying to get him out of jail or keep the courts off his back. He's the godfather of one of his sons. And they boys. Anyway, I had the pleasure of meeting Ambassador Young and getting to know him. And he told me something I'm going to tell you. This is why I came to Buffalo. He told me, he said it was their job, this is the civil rights movement, folks like Dr. King and others, it was their job to light the torch of the Statue of Liberty, to light the way forward. That was their job. They're out there marching, getting hit upside the head, all whatever. It's on TV, fine. That was their job. That was for a season and a reason. That was for that generation. He said it's your generation's job to unchain the feet on the Statue of Liberty. You get a chance, you Google Statue of Liberty's feet. You look to see what's on those feet. He said, that's your job. It may not be glamorous, but it's your job to break the chains. And it starts with literacy. He said, go deputize as many as you can. That's why I'm here today. So you heard this now. You can't act like you didn't hear this. You can't act. You can willfully choose to, whatever you're going to do, that's on you, but now you heard it. I'm here to deputize you. We can't do this. The NAACP can't do this all by itself. You should join, by the way. White people can join the NAACP. I don't know if y'all know that. Y'all can join me. Right? Pay your $30 and go on in there and do what you can and be part of the movement. This is a civil rights challenge. There's a moral component to this. I encourage you, I'm for real. All right, so I'm here to deputize you. It's on you now. I'm not going to keep this to myself. I can't do this by myself. Now you going back to your district. Whatever the BOCES or the whatever, you go. Now you got it. How do the steps look for you in your reading curriculum? How is it designed? What's the fraction? 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5? Now you gotta wrestle with that. You do. I'm going back to California. I got enough to wrestle with back there. People crazy back there. I'm not gonna play this one. What time is it? I think I'm done. What time is it? Yeah, I'm done. I would play some other stuff. Buffalo, I love you. I appreciate the opportunity, Tarja, to come and speak to the folks and everything. I wish you nothing but success in serving our children. I just ask that you do so and remain in touch with your core values. I understand the partisanship is political season. Elections are here, right? I was at the airport and I saw election signs, and I'm like, man, if I couldn't read. Don't talk to me about saving democracy when the kids can't read. What kind of voter are they going to be? Oh, somebody going to tell them what to vote for? Oh, that kind of democracy. Oh, let me tell you what to do democracy? Oh, we've had that version before. It just had a different name on it. So don't get me started. Don't get me started. But anyway, listen, I wish you nothing but success in hard work and diligence, and be gracious with each other. Allow the past to be the past. Understanding when the parents come in huffing and puffing, it's because they love their child. They see their child struggling. I was that parent. And work with them. Understand them and work with them. And you can do it. You can make a difference. You can get 97% of kids to the top of the steps. The other 3%, you might have to build an elevator. But you can get them up there. Thank you, Buffalo.